Good afternoon, everyone.
Afternoon.
Okay. I want to thank everyone for coming out today on this march, good governance, and it is something that all Jamaica has been calling for a long while. When you ask the question, what is good governance? Good governance is basically managing the institution of the state and the affairs of the state, the resources, so that it is free of corruption. And in that, if you manage your affairs of the country and the resources of the country, free of corruption, free of any malfeasance, then you will have good governance. You will have less crime, less corruption in government, less malfeasance. So last night I pondered on the question a lot in regard to good governance, and I did some research regarding the whole issue of corruption, which has been happening in Jamaica over the last post-colonial period. What I found out in my research is that Jamaica in 1953 for the first time was able to be governed by Jamaicans. And for 10 years leading up to 1963, the economy grew. At that time, schools like Kingston Technical, Received, Homewood Technical, even CAF at the time came on stream. And the intention was to link those schools into students into UTech, and then they would go straight into bauxite mining companies. As I said before, the economy grew, and as a result of that, the World Bank issued a loan to Jamaica, a $9.5 million loan to help with the education system, to build new junior secondary schools, and to help with the teacher training program. What happened with that $9.5 million loan was that government at the day, the ruling party at the day, in 1966, the Jamaica Labour Party, brought in a gentleman by the name of Arthur Newland, and he made one significant change to the existing law which existed. At the time, you had two members of parliament who could decide which contractor they wanted. But the final say rests with the ministry. However, the law was changed to ensure that the member of parliament chose the contractor they wanted to build the school in each constituency. What happened? It went into cost overrun. The loan should have lasted for 3 years. But instead of 3 years, the loan went into 6 years, into 1972. Primary school project, the budget plummeted to 125% of what was there before. For the secondary school, it plummeted to 100% of what was allocated. What happened is that there were kickbacks to the political party who did not take money from that loan for themselves. It went into the political coffers of the political party. And that has led to Jamaica, the start of the debt of what Jamaica has now, which is over $1 trillion. And if you look closer to what has happened since then, in recent times, as what has happened to the education ministry, is with the Maritime Training Institute and with the former education minister, of money being moved from the education ministry to do other stuff, which has caused Jamaica to lose, when we could have had an educational system which would have geared, to assist the Jamaican public and to get well-trained individuals to come out in the workforce. That never happened. the amount of money, cost overrun that took place between 1966 and 1972, the value, we never got value for money which was spent. So if we have a government which is running effectively and all the laws are obeyed, there's no corruption, the agencies that are there ensure that the government act accordingly to the laws which is there, then we'll have the type of system that we want. It is not easy. It begins with every one of us. On the eve of Independence Day, I followed a friend to the bus park. The individual was going to the country. And because of the large amount of crowd that was there, the bus came into the park, and once the bus parked, the driver said, the fare is $1,000. And up the fare 40% from what it was. So I said to the individual, do not pay, because if you take a stand now, you are sending a message. And that is what happened in the wider society. It's a reflection of what is happening at the head. So when you talk about governance, it is not with those who are governing. We, the individuals, have to take personal responsibility as to the things that we will accept and the things that we will not accept. And such we send a message to the ruling government or those who are in authority that enough is enough. This is how far we expect you to go. We expect you to behave a certain way. We expect that all laws is observed, that the system runs accordingly. So I want to ask everyone here, not just to say we are going to ask the government to give us good governance. We must, at our local level, ensure that whatever we are doing is above board. These small little things that we do from day to day with our fellow men, so that will go a far way in helping us to rid ourselves of all the unnecessary corruption that we have within the society. So I would like to thank the UIC for giving me this opportunity to be here, to be part of this great movement, and to ensure that we take a step further, ensuring that we rid ourselves of bad governance that we have been having over this last year.
Yes.
All right, am I being heard clearly?
Yes.
Yes.
I wonder if people don't say they hear with this. Or can I cheat?
What about now? Is this louder?
No.
This is better.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll be giving the floor. Oh, by the way, by way of introduction, for those who don't know, I am GC General Secretary of the United Independence Congress. All right, I'll be opening the floor now to Janet Reddy, who's our candidate in training for St. Thomas. She has a few words that she would like to share. I'll allow her the floor before I do my little part. So, Janet. Oh, you weren't ready? Oh, you go, Janet.
Good, Jay.
Yeah.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Put the mic to your mouth. Put the mic to your mouth.
Locally and internationally. Mr. President, Mr. J.L. Patterson, I am here to be a part of this movement that you started, because I know that we can do much better for this country. For over 78 years, we have been suffering the same fate. And I believe in not doing the same thing the same way. We have to do things differently in order to get different results.
Yes.
Jamaica is not a poor country, as we all know. This country is a country that have a lot of assets to make it much better. But we are tied down by the same colonial institutions that were laid down here for us. Right. So we are here to change things. And I am Janet Rennie from St. Thomas, who wishes to represent the parish of St. Thomas as a councillor. So I have to give my little piece right here today. We are recognized as a land of wood and water.
Yes.
And in Jamaica, there are lots of places that hasn't got running water.
Yes.
And sometimes I wonder, how can that be?
Right.
We need to channel the water properly because we got lots of rainfall sometimes. We got to harvest the water first and then channel the water in the right direction.
Right.
Because I believe that in a time like this, the river is supposed to be for recreational activities, not for domestic use. You go to the river if you choose to, not to wash clothes and to pick up water for cooking and so on. That is time way past. So, right now, I'm imploring us to try and do better with one another. Start from down there. You cannot start from the top. You have to start from the bottom, build things up. Because if the end of the stream is dirty, the whole stream will be dirty. So let us work hands in hands, heart in heart, and let this place be a better place. Some people talk about marijuana, that is a bad thing. But I know it is a very good crop for this country.
Very good
It can do
crop.
a lot of things for us. It's not only to smoke.
Yes.
People that burn ganja is the worst thing you can do to the herb. You can do so much more. You can cook with it, you can bake with it, you can make clothes, you can make rope, down to the oil from the seeds can run this country. Instead of our using JPS lines. There are so many topics I could touch on today, but because time is not there, I will leave this for another person to talk.
Yes.
And education is another one of my hot topics
Yes.
that I would like to touch on. Education needs a lot of attention from early childhood coming right up. And you cannot wait until a child is high school age, then you're going to make a decision for them. You got to bring them up from grassroots stage. These are my few words today.
Yes.
My name is Sheldon McGann. I'm the parish manager for St. Andrew. Welcome. It was a pleasure working with all fellow Uniteds here this morning from another parish to another parish, right? From the parish of Kingston to the parish of St. Andrew, which we are here. And thank God we made it on a safe journey. My words this evening is that this area, which is the capital of St. Andrew, Half-a-Tree, is where all the workforce mainly comes. If you realize, it's always have a large amount of traffic, but I believe that in the parish of St. Andrew, the rural areas need attention because we need to have business places in West Rural, East Rural, Papine, Barbican, Red Hills Road, Duane Park, each and everywhere in the parish of St. Andrew, that we can have traffic going to those areas as well. We believe that the UIC, when elected as a government, we will focus on getting these places, not just the urban areas, but the rural areas developed as well. And for us to have things developed, we have to continue to educate our younger ones. And it was a pleasure to see the younger ones on Liberty TV with Mr. Patterson the other night. How did you feel? I feel loved and see that the young people is a part of this, because even when we arrived here in Half-a-Tree, a few moments, we reached here at 2:09, and two young people stopped and said, what this is about? And I explained to them. They said, wonderful. And we have to continue to spread the words. I alone can do it, you alone can do it. We have to continue to spread it and bring people on board. And each one bring one. And once we continue to do that, this United Independent Congress of Jamaica can be a very strong movement to bring this good governance to Jamaica, to show people that we have good roads, we can have good roads, we can have better garbage collection, we can have better education system in the rural areas of St. Andrew and not just in the urban areas of St. Andrew. And also to have health centers in these areas as well, that people don't have to just come to the urban areas to get proper health care system. So the UIC, and I thank Mr. Patterson that he was bold on a rocky road, sleepless nights, with my wife, and all the fellow Uniters, and also in the diaspora. And I must say thank you to all the persons in the diaspora for working so hard that Mr. Patterson can continue to spread the word, not just in the parish of St. Andrew, because we want all parish, all 14 parish to be Uniters, not just St. Andrew. And once all 14 parishes can be Uniters, then we can see the change. All right?
That when the UIC gets elected into government, that we will not fall into the same dirty, corrupt cycle that we see characterizing the two parties now. Now, I want to make it clear that electing UIC is not just electing people into government positions, it's about a whole new system of governance. Alright, so for those persons who are watching online, I want to make it clear, I want you to get it, and get it clear, that electing UIC means a total overhaul of the system that we are used to. Now, we know how it works. You elect the MP running for your favorite party, and the party that gets the most MPs wins the election, and the leader of that party becomes Prime Minister. That one person chooses from all the MPs, the members of the cabinet, that's the ministers of government, and nominates 13 persons to become senators. This one person has all that power. And the leader of the opposition nominates any 8 to become senators without even having to qualify to the people why these people are senators, why these people are ministers. We say none of that. We want to bring about a non-partisan constitutional republic where the Constitution is the supreme law and ensures our rights, that nobody can violate our rights. Now, we want to take the party system out of politics so that you don't enter politics through NEP. Anybody who wants to run for office applies, takes a test. If they pass a test, they go to an interview. If they pass that, then they are audited publicly. So we ensure that no criminal will go in there. Right? So same way you apply for a job, you apply for a political office. Do your governance test, pass the interview, get audited. Only after that. So we cut down corruption already. Only after that can you then get nominated and run for election. Now, under UIC system, anybody can run for government office. You don't need to be rich or have rich connections. You can be somebody who don't have a lot of financial resources because the state will provide for the campaign. So everybody is on the same playing field, whether rich or poor. So long as you pass the governance test, you pass the auditing and so forth. And we don't have the party favors and all of that. So we don't have the corruption because you in my colors or in my party. So on that level, we already cut down corruption. Now, MPs can never become ministers of government under UIC governance. A member of parliament will carry out their job of representing their constitution, their constituents in parliament, and also making laws to run the country efficiently. How will we choose minister of government? First, you must be qualified and experienced in the subject matter that you're going to be minister for. You cannot be looking to be minister of health and you're not qualified and experienced in health. So, how does that work? The president and the national executive nominates people who are qualified for the positions. So for national security, it must be somebody who might have been a police or soldier or whatever in security, and so on, for health and so on. Now, when these persons are nominated, then the Senate, who by the way is elected by the people and not nominated by the friend or company, the Senate vets these potential ministers publicly so people can see who they're getting. Then those who pass the vetting are elected by the MPs, vote for or against. And those who pass that process, which is very public, will become appointed as ministers. So you see we cut down corruption already. Now, under the present system, Prime Minister get 13 people to be senators, leader of opposition get 8. We said, let the people choose who will be representing them in the upper house. Every parish elect a senator. So now senators do not represent the leaders of the party, they represent the people. So instead of 21 senators now, we have 14 for each parish. And these senators, as in the current system, they vet the laws that are passed in the lower house. Right? So now, and also, the beauty of the system is that the Prime Minister or the President alone cannot influence policy. If the President under UIC decide that he wants a policy, he must get the Vice Presidents who are elected, one per county, by the way. Independent people, no party system are going on. Independent people who pass through the process. One per county, so we end up with 3 vice presidents. The president must convince these 3 independent-minded persons of the policy. Then the president must, after getting the assent from the vice president, must convince the senators, 14 independent senators in the majority, to agree with this policy. So you can't have one man just come out and say, take the job or lose the job. You must convince the people's representatives. So we see here accountability to the core. But I shall stop here. When we elect the UIC, we elect a system of governance that is for the people, that is accountable to the people. Now, I will stop my labbing now and give the mic to Mr. De Aguilar.
Well, first of all, let me say thank you to the UIC and Mr. Patterson for inviting me to say a few words. I think it's very positive because the PNP will invite me to come to their annual conference to speak. Now will the Jamaica Labour Party do that as well? I belong to the People's Anti-Corruption Movement. And once you're in politics, you have to be capable and willing to engage in debate, discussion, because you're not going to agree with everybody and everything. So you have to intelligently have a discussion. So I commend the UIC for having invited me here to say a few words. All right? Thank you very much. All right, so let me say, first of all, that last year, when the UIC had the protest in downtown Kingston against forced vaccination, I was there. And I am against forced vaccination. You have a constitutional right to your body. Nobody can force you to put into your body what you don't want to put into your body. Right? Your children, they force your children to get vaccination in order to go to school. That's unconstitutional. Nobody has ever challenged it. But your child, you have a right to protect your child. No dictatorship. It's dictatorship, right? Constitutional violation of your rights. Now, let's look at what happened 22nd last year. They arrested Mr. Patterson and a few other of the UIC folks. They were trying to mash up the protest. Why? You don't have a right to protest. You have a right to peaceful protest. That's your constitutional right. It's in the Constitution. So they arrested Mr. Patterson and a few others and took them to the police station. Everybody marched behind the police car that was taking him to the police station and were demanding that he be released, etc., etc. After a while, the SSP, Mr. McGregor, said, we'll move from here, right? Nobody was threatening the police, everybody was there peacefully, just voicing their position on vaccination and so on. And then in no time, I challenged him. I said, it's not constitutional for telling the people to move because they're not doing anything. They're not violating any law. we are peaceful. Him say, I want to move. So the people started to move. And they were moving, walking away. And guess what? Police take out them pepper spray and start to pepper spray people. Nobody was resisting. Nobody was engaging the police in any violence or anything like that. So that is clearly a form of terrorism, in my opinion.
Definitely.
And they use
Definitely.
pepper spray casually all over the place, right? I know some guys in the park here, and they can tell you stories about how they were pepper sprayed. Police don't like you, they just pepper spray you, all right? They did that to Nzinga King. I was hoping that she'd be here today.
All right.
But she was in a taxi and the policeman just put him pepper spray inside the car because you want one man and pepper spray her. And after them done pepper spray and she step out and challenge a policeman, him arrest her. So you don't have a right to verbally challenge a policeman and say you're doing the wrong thing, you're violating the law, etc. And then what happened? She go to the police station and then them cut off her locks, right? So that prejudice against Rasta still exists within the police force, all right? Still exists here. But guess what? That prejudice, I call it racism, exists in the schools as well.
As well, sir.
So if you're a little girl or a little boy and you wear your hair natural or you wear your hair locks, them say, no, you can't come to school. That is racism. And we have to fight against that, right? Neither the PNP nor the JLP is looking out against that. And that is very, very bad. All right? Very, very bad. And they're all forms of human rights violation that is taking place throughout the length and breadth of this country. All kinds of human rights violation. We have a Minister of National Security, right? And the other day, him tell the police, say, "Only if you shoot for kill, and when you don't kill, only don't send no ambulance at all to pick up the person. So if the police is shooting at your foot and you're still alive, don't send no ambulance for you, all right? And we know that police extrajudicial killings has been endemic in the political system of Jamaica for a long time. Human rights organizations all over the world, including the State Department in America, say that police extrajudicial killings are policy of state. So this Minister of National Security is merely saying, shoot first and ask questions later, as has been done by other MPs in the past. Shoot first and ask questions later. All right, that is what he was doing. All right. So we need to get rid of this Minister of National Security because he's advocating police terrorism against people. And that is not right. He can't do that. So we need to be very vigilant and very stern and very strong in demanding that this man be removed. Police extrajudicial killings is going on almost every day. Every year they kill at least 100 people. 100 people a year they kill. Now, I was one of the people that was pepper sprayed, right? So after I was pepper sprayed, in a couple of days, I went to Indicom and I reported the matter to Indicom. I said I was pepper sprayed and I want you to investigate and take legal action. It takes Indicom almost 1 year to investigate and write their report, right? Almost 1 year. And when they write the report, I said to them, can I have a copy of the report? And one of them said, no, we have to send it to the DPP first. But I said, why? You're an independent organization. You know, you send it to the DPP, but according to the Act, the Independent Commission Act, I have a right to get this report, right? Them said, no, they must send it to the DPP. I don't know if you know anything about Nzinga King, but it's the same thing went on with Nzinga, back and forth. And the DPP said, boy, you know, we're not charging police or anything like that.
They like 90 wonders in Jamaica.
So I just want to point out that one of the reasons why we have this endemic police extrajudicial killing policy is because organizations like Indicom work with the police. They work with the police, all right? So they know I write the DPP and I said, I want to take legal action against the police for what they did to me. So when are you going to finish your report so that I can get it from Indico? I'm saying 6 weeks time. But guess what? 6 weeks gone already. 6 weeks gone. So I am here now, and it's very difficult for me to go to court because I don't have this report. If I call police will run me and say, go away, we're not talking to you, blah, blah, blah. So I need Indico. And they say that justice delayed is justice denied. All right, I see my time is running out. But let me just say that I am part of the People's Anti-Corruption Movement. All right? Jamaica is one of the most corrupt countries in the world. Everybody said that. And we have to fight against corruption also. And what we did, we wrote the Prime Minister about corruption, that we need a commission of inquiry into corruption. We sent a letter to the leader of the opposition that we need a commission of inquiry into corruption. And we sent letters to all 63 members of parliament. And guess what? Not one of them has responded. Not one. So what does that mean? That means, therefore, there is endemic corruption in the parliament from the Prime Minister all the way down. And we can't afford that to happen. So what does that mean? It means that they're thieving the money, right, every year, putting it in their pockets. And that is why education is underfunded. That is why health is underfunded. That is why they're not picking up the garbage. That is why they're not building the roads properly. And we can't continue with that kind of something. So we have to stand up and we have to make them know that we're going to be like Sam Sharp. Because Sam Sharp said, we're not in slavery no more. All right, we're not in slavery. I would rather die on yonder gallows than continue to be a slave. So that's what I'm saying to you. You have to decide that you're going to make personal sacrifices if necessary to change the system, to change the corruption, to change the violence and everything else. Because they don't properly fund education. A lot of children are not going to school. But if the children then join gang, them say, boy, send the police. But who's responsible for the gangs? And the government, the system, the corrupt system, is they are the ones that should be held accountable. And I say one more point, right? There is the anti-gang legislation, right? And the Gleaner in an editorial some years ago. So we have 2 gangs in Parliament. That is what they said. And none of them could challenge the Gleaner because the Gleaner followed up and said we have 2 gangs in Parliament. So all I'm saying to you is, if the police can come into your community and scoop up all kind of youth and carry them where and say them a gang member, why you can't go to Parliament and do the same thing? You can't go there and scrape them up. You can't go and scrape them up and whatever you need to do, you do it. So we can't have 2 types of justice. One injustice for us and justice for them. No, it can't work. So I commend you for being out here.